You have never had more access, more choices, more information, and yet making a single decision feels harder than ever. And that's not a motivation problem. It's not a discipline problem either. And it's definitely not because you're lazy. An ancient Greek physician once said something that explains this perfectly. The dose makes the poison. Water keeps you alive. Too much of it, you drown. Oxygen fuels your blood. In excess, under pressure, it becomes toxic. Poison isn't about what something is, it's about how much of it you take. And for the first time in human history, the one thing we have too much of is opportunity. What if the problem in your life isn't lack, but excess, not scarcity? Abundance. We are living through a silent epidemic. It doesn't kill the body, it rewires the mind for a slow, comfortable decay. This is not a plague of scarcity, it's a plague of abundance. We are the first generation in human history to be drowning in resources, access, and most dangerously, information. We are adapting to a sickness and calling it progress. For 99% of human history, the struggle was scarcity. Not enough food, not enough safety, not enough data. Our brains evolved to hoard. When your ancestors found a berry bush, they ate everything because they didn't know when they'd find another. When they found a fragment of information, they cherished it. When they wanted answers, they walked miles. They searched for it. They waited. Then in less than 3 decades, we took that Stone Age brain and dropped it into a digital Vegas that never sleeps. Infinite content, infinite opinions, and infinite choices. As the biologist E.O. Wilson warned, we have Paleolithic emotions, medieval institutions, and godlike technology. This mismatch is tearing at the seams of the human mind. The ancestral wiring is malfunctioning. We have replaced the struggle for survival with struggle for selection. We love to believe that access equals intelligence, but it doesn't. Scarcity once forced depth with a struggle for selection now. We mistake exposure for insight and familiarity for wisdom. This is not enlightenment, it is intellectual inflation, a massive increase in the currency of data with a total collapse in its value. When every answer is a Google search away, the brain assumes that fulfillment and clarity should also be instant. We demand the reward without the cognitive friction required to earn it. But wisdom cannot be downloaded. It requires the three things the modern world hates most: time, silence, and pain. Let's move from philosophy to biology. Your prefrontal cortex, the CEO of your brain, is responsible for focus, impulse control, and complex reasoning. But it has a hard limit. Cognitive psychologists call this cognitive load theory. Every notification, every open tab, every breaking headline is an attentional demand. In 1971, Nobel laureate Herbert Simon prophetically stated, "A wealth of information creates a poverty of attention." When your cognitive load becomes insurmountable, your brain enters survival mode. It stops deep processing and starts skimming. Your IQ temporarily drops. Your patience shrinks. Your brain hijacks your decisions. You don't become smarter with more data. You become reactive. You aren't processing the world. You are just surviving the noise. This ecosystem is designed to exploit your biology. The infinite scroll is the psychological equivalent of a slot machine. It offers intermittent variable rewards. You pull the lever and occasionally you get a hit of dopamine. According to Stanford neuroscientist Dr. Anna Lemke, repeated dopamine surges force the brain to down-regulate its own receptors. The result is a dopamine deficit state characterized by emotional flatness, reduced motivation, and inability to enjoy simple things. You don't scroll because it feels good anymore. You scroll because stillness has become unbearable. This isn't a lack of willpower, it's a neurochemical dependency on the very noise that is making us sick. Psychologist Barry Schwartz called it the paradox of choice. While some choice is liberating, hyperabundance is paralyzing. 3 options, you choose and move on. 3,000 options, you freeze. Whether it's your career, your relationships, or even what to watch tonight, the fear of choosing wrong becomes stronger than the joy of choosing it all. We keep browsing, comparing, optimizing. We turn our lives into unfinished drafts, haunted by the digital ghost of the life we didn't click on. Civilizations don't usually collapse from ignorance, they collapse from excess. Rome didn't fall when it lacked resources. It fell when comfort replaced discipline and stimulation replaced meaning. When stimulation outpaces purpose, mental decay precedes societal collapse. We are repeating this cycle with faster bandwidth. We are building supercomputers to process extra bytes of data while our own biological machinery degrades to the point where we can't sit alone in a room for 10 minutes without reaching for a screen. Now the question is, how do we remain sane in an insane asylum of information? There are no hacks, there is only discipline. Firstly, information fasting. Silence is neurological repair. Practice voluntary attentional scarcity. No phone for the first hour of the day. Designated offline days. You must manually recreate the scarcity your ancestors had naturally. Secondly, depth over breadth. One idea lived deeply reshapes the soul. 1,000 fragments hollow it out. Shift from passive consumption to active curation. If information doesn't serve a specific purpose, treat it as a noise. Ruthlessly unsubscribe. And lastly, deliberate boredom. When input stops, the default mode network activates. This is the system responsible for identity, meaning, and integration. Without boredom, there is no wisdom. Commit to the physical therapy of focus. 60 minutes of one task. No tabs, no phone. The pain you feel is the brain rewiring itself back to health. We are racing to build artificial intelligence while excitedly allowing our human intelligence to wither. We solved the problem of access. Now we face the much deadlier problem of excess. If information keeps growing exponentially while human processing power remains linear, what becomes of the human soul? The next time you reach for the scroll, ask yourself, are you consuming the world or is the world consuming you?